Let's see if we can make this work. Let me know in the chat, please. I'm trying my best. It looks like that my Yeti microphone is not picking up on the streaming channel. I'm gonna be using a different microphone, so it's probably not as good as the previous one, but please let me know. We got some audio. Perfect. So we can throw away this microphone. It's probably not going to be the best audio, and I apologize because I'm using my camera, but at least we got an audio source. So hopefully, fantastic. Thank you so much. So a little bit of a recap. Hello everybody, welcome to be here. Thank you so much for being so patient while I figure it out. This audio, let me make sure that I tell behind the scene that everything is okay. There we go. So it looks like we sorted the audio issue. As I said, today we're gonna be working on a mood board. I was just saying to everybody that I wanted to know where you guys are from, so make sure to join the chat. If you're watching from YouTube, jump back on behance.net/live. That is the place where we're gonna be chatting. Hopefully you can tell me that you can hear me right now, and I will be able to see you and of course say hi to you. I can see RB, what's up, Odari, Steve, Luis, Andrea, nice to see you. We were just together in Washington DC for Creative Pro Week event, and I'm so glad. Misty, perfect, you can hear me. Let me know where you guys are watching from. I am your host, Kladi. I'm based in the UK. I'm an Italian designer, and of course I look forward to know where you are from. Today is a brand new episode of How To. We're gonna be learning together how to create mood board. As you probably know, this wonderful series is all about how to create professional piece of graphic design. You can follow along, so if you want to do so, make sure to open InDesign already, and if not, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the stream, and then you will be able to watch this replay anytime. But let's get started. I feel that we already lost 5 minutes with this audio issue. Finally, we're here. We have New Zealand in the house. We have LA, Tampa, Maryland, more LA in the house. Also, we have Costa Rica, pura vida. Oh, I'm so jealous. Wonderful. Let me know. Detroit, Rock City. Let me know where you guys are from. I get so excited about this international vibe. Brilliant. But since we are now able to keep going with the stream, we can jump back. And I like to start by showing you right away where we what we're going to be creating. So I'm going to use a case study for this mood board. We're going to be working in InDesign, so we're going to be sharpening skills and learning new techniques in Adobe InDesign. And from here, you will be able to jump into a mood board and learn how to use InDesign to collect images. So I'm going to press the Shift W to jump from our InDesign into presentation mode, and from here you will be able to have a little bit of a preview to what we're going to be creating today. Oops, it looks like I went a little bit too fast. Here it is, and more. So I'm going to show you also how to create link and stuff like also mail to, because we're creating a digital mood board. Nowadays, everything is online. So I really want to make sure that I show you the best professional techniques to make sure that you can collaborate, keep your team on the same page, and also you can share your content with other designers, even if they do not have your client, even if they're not designers and they maybe do not have InDesign, but they will be able to check out your mood board online. So before we get started, I want to give you a little bit of context about what is mood board. Maybe I should move like that so you can actually read the entire thing. So a mood board is a collection of visual materials that are brought together to give you an idea, to put your images in focus. When you're talking about different aspects of a brand, of a campaign, it's so easy to get lost by using words, because words may mean different things for different peoples. And that's why we want to use mood board in order to have a visual collection that in a snap will bring us right into the mood in what the look and feel is and what the direction of our project is. So this is actually the brand platform, which you can find on my website, iamkladi.com. This brand platform allows you to ask the right questions to your clients. You can go and check it out. There is iamkladi.com/freebies. There is a ton of freebies that you can find there. So you can download also this brand platform alongside contracts and so much more. And of course, it allows you to get the most important questions in order to bring them in your clients, and to make sure that you start to collect these words. In fact, it's very important to understand when to do mood boards. So mood board comes in a very crucial part over there between research and concept development. In fact, as I said, a mood board is gonna help you to focus what you're creating. So you're gonna start by researching maybe a lot of images and a lot of references, and then you will be able to bring them together in a mood board, and that's where the first refinements happens. And I'm just gonna move so you can maybe take a screenshot of the full slide. Here it is. And the mood board will help you to filter the first context of your actual project. Right, I feel that I'm talking very fast because I feel like I need to speed up because we lost the 5 minutes. Maybe I can like calm down a second. After the platform, the brand platform that allows you to collect the core messages, values, and all the most important foundation of the business of the clients that you're working with, I usually take this information into an internal brief, which has the client informations or stuff like a job deadline or job number, then the brand vision. That's really important. This is basically the summary that comes from the brand platforms, and those are all those important information that not all clients are going to give you. If you think, or if you happen to work with a client that give you a brief that is so neatly organized, well, ring me because I want to join your team, because it never really happens when you work, especially with small, medium companies. So, people sometimes come with notes on a piece of paper, just like that, or maybe they come just with their mind and their thoughts, and you have to help them get them organized. I also asked them some visual references, and I'm going to zoom in just to give you an idea. Those visual references are so important because you start to understand what is in the mind of the people that you work with. So let me actually move a little bit forward, and this is like an idea of how I get to the second step, which is finding keywords. So we go from an analysis of a brand into a conceptual very, very wordy document into keywords, and then the next page will be actually starting to collect images. So this is still the research phase where we have many different images. Now, why we do mood board? Because something like a keyword, for example, the word cool, can mean very different things for different people. So cool can mean like nice. For example, if we can imagine like a cocktail or a cocktail bar, for somebody cool means like something more like a metropolitan bar that you can find in the city, open only at night, which can maybe represent these two little glasses, or maybe something that is like a party on a picnic or like in a countryside. Or cool can be a cocktail next to a pool, or maybe a cocktail which has special effects like all the smoke, or maybe a very cool tiki bar. So as you can see, the word cool can be applied in many, many different ways, and that's why mood boards are there to help us out to understand how to guide us in what is important and what is not relevant. So for a project that maybe is looking forward to open create a concept for a cocktail bar that is only open in the evening, where there is no pool, when there's going to be no tiki vibe and no countryside vibe, maybe only the 3 images that are marked in the green are gonna help us to define that vision when we're creating the brand or any other project or marketing material related to this particular project. So we go from a very generic cool to a more defined idea of what cool is. And look what happens when we then make a selection, the vibe, the mood start to come through. Paloma is loving the octopus glass, very interesting. Barbara, don't worry, we're just exploring what a mood board is. We haven't jumped in InDesign yet, which is what we're gonna be doing now. So let's go back into InDesign and see how we're gonna be creating this mood board for our case study today, which is Plantorium. Plantorium, and that's a little bit more about the brand. Plantorium is a plant shop which is looking to transfer this botanical dream, magical experience that is vibrant and fun, but also transfer these urban tropical vibes. So we're going to be creating mood boards starting from this keyword over here. In order to get started, make sure to open InDesign and then click on new file, or use the command N or control N shortcut in order to open the new document window. For the new document window, remember, we will be creating digital mood boards. So we're gonna be inserting links and maybe mail to links as well. Let's go ahead and select web. So from there we can already change our settings to adapt our document ready for screen. All we're left to do is to name our file. We're going to call it Plantorium Mood Board. And then we're gonna give them the size of the high resolution 1920 by 1080, which is the standard IRES for the majority of screens. So it's 1920 by 1080 pixels. Remember, we're working in pixels because we are working for screen. Then we can give it, for example, we can start with 3 or 4 pages. We can always change these details afterwards as well. So it's also very important before we move forward into margins that we can click on preview. So once we click on preview, you can see that we have right away behind me a preview of the document that we're going to be creating. And that's going to be so helpful when we create something like margins. Let me zoom in so you can see. We have margins here like this magenta that allow us to understand and how to frame our content. Margins are very important because, as I say, they create a frame between the page, which is indicated by this black line, and then the container for the actual information. And they really help us to create a safe space for us to place all the content. In this case, for a 1920 by 1080, I like to use a margin of 100 pixels. If your link icon is selected, you can make editing happen all the time. You can make it happen all in one time just by clicking on one of the field, and you will see that the other one will update automatically. Look here. So if I change one of these fields, for example, to 150, all the other field will change as well once I click away. So let's go back to 100. Perfect. And then I'm going to zoom out to show you that also here our margin has increased, and it looks like I'm happy with these margins. All I have to do is to click on create in order to create the document, which is already being previewed. Don't forget now to save your document. Command S if you're working on a Mac, otherwise Control S if you're working on Windows. Choose your destination folder on your machine, and then simply name your file and click on save to make sure that you save it. Because when you create it, although you're naming it in the new document file, in a new document little pop-up, you're not actually saving it yet. So you always have to save it after you open it. Perfect. Now, before we get started, I want to start to dive into structure. If we actually look at the mood board that we have there, and we press the letter W to exit the preview view mode, and we head into the normal view, we can see that we have this grid. This grid, which is made by this blue line, allow us to create structures. See, every time that I'm going to create all my frames, everything is going to look the same, nice and neat, nice and organized. So you can definitely have this structure to support you with the use of grid and a layout. Now, how do we create grids that repeat over and over the page, on the pages of your document? Well, that's when we jump into the parent pages. So select the page panel, and if you cannot see the pages panel, head under the window menu and select pages. And from here, you will be able to double click on what is called the A parent. The letter A just indicated that's the first parent that is there. The more that you're going to create parent, you can create as many as you want. They're going to be called A, B, C, D, and so forth. So at the moment, there is nothing in the parent. And remember, the parent is going to work as a background. So everything that you place inside your parent page will display to all the pages to which you apply the parent to. In this case, because our pages all display this little A, that means that the A parent is applied to all of them. But I will show you how to change that in just a second. But first, make sure that we are in the parent page. You will see that the parent page will be highlighted in blue. And then head to layout and create guides. Here, make sure to fit your guides to margin or to page, depending on what you prefer. I definitely prefer working with margins. And then I'm gonna start by setting a an even number. In this case, I'm going to use 4 for my rows and 8. I tend to always use the double for the columns if I'm using a landscape. So with a work landscape, I have a set number of rows, and then I double that for the columns. And then depends if I want to use mostly rectangular frames or square frames. For square frames, you can see that there is like 1, 2, 3 square, so you can create a smaller square just like the one behind me, or a larger one that includes, you know, all these 4 square. So if you want to work with squares for the majority of your, you know, images or documents that you're going to place inside your content area, try to use an even number. Otherwise, if you're looking to create rectangular columns, or, you know, to block your content into rectangles, use an odd number. Although I can show you, we can also use rectangular frames within even grid. Now, what also is important is to understand what this gutter is. I'm going to set mine to 15, and you can see that the shift that is happening here is for the space between each column and row. That is basically going to allow us, whenever we are going to be using the grid to make sure that the content will land on one of these grid, to have some breathing space in between. And then when you're done, simply click on OK, and you can zoom out. And here we go. We're absolutely ready to go with our grid, ready to contain and help us structure for our layout. And look what happens if I now click on the other pages. So now page 4, page 1, we have this parent applied to all the pages, because as I said, it works as a background. But what if for my cover I do not need any grid? Well, I'm going to go ahead and select the none and drag it. Look at this. I'm going to actually do it with a zoom because I want to show you how it works. I'm going to click and drag the none, so the letter A disappears, and now the first one doesn't have a grid. But then if we scroll to page 2, because the letter A is there, that means that we have the parent A applied as a background to this image. We have the background there. Perfect. Now, talking about structure and consistency, another wonderful tool that allows you to maintain consistency are layers. Layers allow you to move and manage content and really be in control of all the elements that you place inside your document. So make sure to select the window menu and click on layers to bring up your layers panel. And we can go ahead and call this first layer grid, and this layer will contain our grid, or maybe, you know, any other background element that you want for your parent page. And then you can click on the little square located at the bottom of the layers panel in order to create a new layer. There it is, it's this little square here. And you can click as many times as you want, and you will see that every time that you click, we're gonna have a new layer. Double click on it to rename it. I'm gonna add a layer for text, then I'm gonna add a layer for color palette, and then I'm gonna add a layer for images, and select on OK. Also, maybe we can add one for the background. Hopefully we're gonna have time to also create a cool background. We're gonna jump real quick into Illustrator and use the color palette that we create in InDesign. So cool stuff. Now, as you can see, the background is at the very top. Remember, whenever we use layers, whatever is on the top, as I say, a layer is a container, will be displayed above the content on the layers below. So if we have a background, we really want to have the background at the bottom. Now, don't worry, you can click and drag and move these different layers as many times as you want. So you can have them, you know, placed in every different position. And if you, for whatever reason, the project is not working for you, you can go back and simply change that anytime as you want. Fantastic. So now that we have our layers, we can click on the text layer and we can start adding some text. So let's go back into the parent pages, because there are some more fixed elements that we can simply add in order to use over and over again in our pages. One of them could be a link. So maybe at the bottom of the page, let me move it over so it's not behind me here. We can add our website, so the clients or whoever else we're collaborating with can hit us up and get in touch with us at any time. To add text, click on the letter T, and then you can click and drag in order to create a text area. And here you can start typing whatever you want. I'm going to start by adding my website, which is iamkladi.com. And from there, I want to transform this text into an hyperlink. Now, before I move into actually adding the link, I'm going to double click on the actual text that I've created, and I'm going to start styling it because it's very, very tiny. No matter how much I zoom, it still looks very, very small. Now, I would recommend you, when you create a mood board, although they are for different clients, to retain your own font and text. So if I'm going to head to my properties panel, I'm actually going to go ahead and retain my own business characters. You can change and style the text by using the character panel, which is located inside the properties panel, or you can find a standalone character panel under window, and you have all the style. Here it is. And you can find your character styles and paragraph styles over here, and by doing so you will be able to add and access all the different styles in there. And also in this case, if you just want to, without creating a style, if you just want to create and choose between different character types and font family, you can simply go under type and select the character panel over there, which you can also bring up with the shortcut Command T. Let me zoom it in so you can see it. And in that case, let's say bring it up, that it brings a standalone character panel. You cannot create style from this particular panel, but you will be able to style the text. And as you can see, that's exactly the copy of what you find inside the properties panel. So at the moment, I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of this little panel here, and I'm gonna use, as I said, my company fonts, because again, I want this text at the moment to be absolutely neutral. That's got nothing to do with the brand that I'm working with. I just wanted to make it neutral, and so the actual images of the mood board stand out. So I'm gonna use my usual font, which is Work Sans. Maybe I can make it bold, and then I'm gonna give it a weight of 20. Now, for when you're working in digital, for legibility and accessibility, the minimum that you want to work with is a size 16. This 20 is nearly looking quite too small as well. Maybe we're going to give it a size 22. And I'm going to click away to see how it looks like. I'm quite happy with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and use a shortcut option, Command C. There will be Alt Control C if you're working on Windows, to make sure that I fit the text frame within the actual text. Then with my text selected, all I have to do is to head under the window menu, and then from here we have the interactive panels, and there we can find the hyperlinks. Select hyperlinks, and from there you will be able to actually add a new hyperlink that, as you can see, we have our little text that is now selected with these bolder dots. And all we have to do here is to simply add the actual URL. Mine is iamkladi.com. And then simply click on OK. By the way, right now the link is going to head to a URL. Later on, we're going to see also how to have a mail to attach to a particular string or text as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK, and we can see that right away InDesign is telling me that there are no issue. We can actually click from InDesign and jump right away into my website, so you have the chance to test your links without leaving InDesign. Now I'm gonna go ahead and create more text, but before doing so, I'm gonna add a page number, and I also want to ask in the chat while I have a little drink of water, if you guys have ever worked with next styles, because that is exactly what we're gonna be tackling in just a second. And I know that there is a little bit of delay in the chat, so make sure to go ahead and let me know if you have ever worked with next style before. I can go and bring my hyperlinks inside and my panels and just simply tile it into the style. And then now the last thing that I have to do before I finish my actual pages and footer for my pages is to add a page number. We can also, in order to retain the same style here, we can just simply go ahead and press the letter T and click and drag to create a new text type. And now what I have to do in order to add a page number, because I want this to update automatically, so if I'm going to add pages, I want it to automatically let me know at which pages we're actually at. That's so useful, especially when you're on a call, in a video call, and you're like, oh, which page are you looking at? And it's important to have your page number correctly. So all you have to do is once you create a text frame, is add under type, insert special character, then select markers and current page number. Or you can use this very simple shortcut, which is Shift Alt Command N, and there will be Shift Alt Control N if you're on Windows. That otherwise is Shift Option Command N if you're working on a Mac. Or you can simply go to Type and then select Insert Special Character, Marker, and click on Current Page. And you will see that we have the letter A here, which we can also style as we did before from the character panel. I'm going to go ahead and choose my Work Sans, set it to medium, and give it a size 22. Now, what we've done here is we had to restyle basically our page twice. I'm also gonna go ahead and right align it, because I wanna make sure that if we have a double digits, the number will increase on the left side, so it will be nice and in line with the text. And I'm gonna make my also my text a little bit bigger, so we know that we have enough space within the text frame for larger numbers. Perfect. Don't forget to hit the Command Save or Control Save here and there to save your file. And let's go ahead and jump back into our pages. And now if we head to page number 2, we see that we have number 2 and we have my website there, and so on for page number 3 numbered, and then page number 4. So everything has been numbered. Now, what if I want my page number 2 to be my page number 1? Because as I said, I'm gonna be using the actual page number 1 as a cover, so that's not real page number 1. The first page with the content will be page number 2. How do we skip this numbering so our page number 2 is page number 1 without, you know, much effort? All we have to do here is to right click on the page and select numbering and section option. So remember, I'm right clicking on the page thumbnail, which I want to be the first page of the new of this document. I'm gonna go ahead and click numbering and section selection option. And from the new section, I'm gonna go ahead and select start page numbering at 1. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click on OK to make sure that we have these new pages. Now, InDesign is giving us a warning, say, hey, there is already a page number. If you change the section and you change it to, you know, this new number 1, it's gonna delete the previous one. You'll be like, okay, that's exactly what I wanna do. So click on OK, and here we are. So if we head now to page number 1, we do not have any numbering. There is no parent applied. But if we do head on page, what it was page number 2, you can see right away from the thumbnail here that every time that there is this little arrow on top of your page thumbnail, that is there to let us know that there is a new section starting. So another way of seeing is that we have 2 pages number 1, and therefore we know that this page is now going to be page number 1. Fantastic. So let me see if we have Odari, no, never use next style. Luis is saying yes, next styles is so handy. Barbara said yes. Nico, I haven't. So Luis Madrigal is saying object styles. Perfect. We're going to show object styles as well today. RB, don't drink and drive. ID Kladi. Perfect. So yes, let's move on and let's start with these next styles once we start formatting the text. So now that we have our page 1, all we're left to do is to start inserting the content. The first thing that I always do to make sure that everybody's on the same page while we create a mood board is to reiterate our keywords. So here I have them just written down on a plain text. Here they are. We have the main little core values that we have selected before. So botanical dream, magical experience, vibrant and fun, urban and tropical, and so forth and so on. So I'm going to select this text, copy it, and then I'm going to go ahead and press on the letter T or activate the type tool, and I'm going to create a text frame in the middle of my board. And as you can see here, I'm just going to go ahead and press the letter V. I'm actually using the our guides to really create something that supports, like a text frame is supported and is really isolated in the middle of our grid. Now with the letter T, click inside the frame and press Command V to place your text. Here it is. So the text is simply pasted from the other document, from the plain text. We can also press that option Command I to see all the hidden character. Now here what we have is that we have a return only at the end of a specific paragraph, and that's going to be so important. So if you do end up having returns in between, sometimes people do that if they don't know how to use indent and spacing, which we're going to be exploring in a second. They tend to add a paragraph and then more paragraph to space the text. Now the problem is that you're going to have to do that over and over again. So imagine keep going through the entire text, adding paragraph. They need to remember, did I add 2 paragraphs before or 3? That's just going to create a mess. So to work professionally, what we're going to be doing is to style the text, creating paragraph style and then also character styles. So as I said before, you're going to head to Window, Styles, and from there you can bring up the paragraph styles, which shows up and brings along his little sister character style. So once we have the paragraph styles, we can actually keep them together. I don't know why I've separated them there, so let's bring the character style inside the paragraph styles. And then there are two different ways in which you can do. So we can first of all select the text, head back to the properties panel and use the character options here to style it. Or we can work by creating a first paragraph style. So let's go ahead and click on the paragraph style, and I'm going to double click on it in order to open its options. And I'm going to start by naming it so I know exactly what the styles will refer to. And I'm going to go ahead and call it heading. Then from here, I'm going to go ahead and select basic character formats so I can start by really styling my text. And I want to suggest to everybody to make sure that your preview is active so you can actually style your text appropriately. Now for my heading, I'm going to use again my personal brand's font. So I always try between the heading and the body copy to have a nice difference in between the two. So something that is a heading, it will definitely be like a display font, something bolder. I tend to use sans serif for it, so it's nice, sharp, and easy to read. While as a contrast for the description, I tend to use something that is a little bit more of a book quality. In this case, I'm going to be consistent and use the social gothic like I did before. So to get started, as I said, sorry, the work sans like I did before. Social gothic will be for our heading. We're also going to give it a size nice and legible of 30. And the leading automatic is 36, which is fine because I don't usually have multiple lines of heading. So I'm not really bothered by that. Something else we can do is to head to iPhoneation and untick iPhone 8. And then you can do more things here, like changing the character colors. In this case, I'm happy with the black. I can go back to general and simply click on OK once I'm happy with it. Fantastic. Now, the other way in which you can create a paragraph style is by selecting the text and then heading to your character, and then first start by styling here the text. So here I'm going to access my social gothic, and then I want to make sure that my social gothic is set to semi-bold, and I want to give it demi-bold, sorry. I want to give it, work sans. I'm getting confused between the two fonts. So social gothic is the one that we use for the heading, and as I said, as a contrast, we're going to be using work sans light. So as you can see, is a smaller font. The heading is tall, while the description is going to be short, and we're going to give it a weight, as I said, a minimum of 16 for text on digital document with a 22 leading, which is the standard leading. I tend to usually add a little bit more, just give it a 23. Maybe we can make it a 20, 23. It looks nice and bold. Now, once you've created and styled your text, all you're left to do is to go ahead and click here within the properties panel. You can create and add a new style by clicking on the little square with the plus icon, and you will see that inside the paragraph style, the new paragraph style will happen to come up right away. So all we have to do is to double click on it. We can call it description. And then from here, from the basic character formats, we already have our work sans light 20 on 23, which was what we just styled before. All I'm left to do here is now to add indents and spacing. So the space is exactly what I was talking about when people just keep hitting those returns button in order to create space in between the line. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to create some space between my heading and my description. So it's actually the space that is right here. So I want to make sure that there is enough distance between them so they don't look like to crump up together. My go-to is usually 3 pixels between the top and the bottom of the same kind of content. But now what happens, let me just move a little bit, from the end of this paragraph over there and the new title that we're going to still have to style, but the new heading. Now I really want to make sure that the distance is higher than the distance between my title and my description, because that's going to be another title, so it's like a different topic. And for the rule of proximity, part of the Gestalt perception theory, when our eyes see images grouped together or text grouped together, we perceive them as part of the same content. So of course we want the title and the description together, and then we want more space before a new title and a new description. So in this case, we're gonna select the space before to 3 and the space after to something like at least double 3. So I will say perhaps 7. So as you can see, the space above is gonna be more than the space below. All I'm left to do here is to make sure that I click on OK, and you will see that our text is now applied. Now you can go ahead and simply click on the new text and apply the new style and so on, and click and apply the style. And that's already pretty handy because it allows you to, style the text quite easily. But what if we use these wonderful next styles, and let me show you how to add the next style. So when you have at least 2 styles inside of paragraph styles, you can always go back and double click on them to edit them. So don't worry, if you ever feel like you're not happy with your settings and with your styling, you can always access it again. And then we can head here where it says general, and under next style, under the heading, we know that the next style after the heading is going to be a description. So once you make this change, click on OK. And I'm going to do the same for my description. I know that when the description finishes, I'm going to have a new heading. So my next style after description is going to be heading. And then click on OK. Now, everybody thinks like, what is going on? Why nothing happens? If I now go ahead and, let's bring back this to basic paragraph. So like literally not styled. If I click on description, why doesn't apply the next style? And so on. If like, I'm just going to go ahead and make everything basic paragraph. If I select my first paragraph and apply heading, why the second one doesn't become a description? So there is a very specific way in which you want to apply a next style. And by doing so, we're going to select first the entire text. So I'm actually grabbing and selecting the text frame. And then I'm going to go ahead and select my first style. So the style that I want to start with, in this case, it will be heading. And I'm going to right click on it. And from here, I'm going to select apply heading and next style. So I'm going to zoom out because I want to show you the magic happen in just one click. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, and done. So the entire frame that I've selected is being treated with my first style, which was my heading, to which I had a next style applied because I said apply the heading plus the next style. And because the next style was triggered and we had a next style for our description, it rolled out into a heading description, heading description. This is great if you have like Q&A or this sort of, text in which you have a repetition of the same styles. And of course, you can cascade more style if you want to. So as long as you complete your circle between what is the first style, what comes after that, and what comes next, and so on and so forth, until you're back to the very first one, you will be able to apply them as you see in just one click. Fantastic, but let's move on. And I wanted to show you real quick that if you have this little plus icon here at the bottom right of your text, that means that there is some overset text. So there is some text that is hiding underneath my frame. So what do I do if I want to make sure that I have all this text, but I want to make sure that it also fits inside my frame? So the first thing is, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and head perhaps to my description, making sure that I do not have my frame selected. So just simply click anywhere. And then from the description here, I'm going to go ahead and maybe get a leading of 23. And that already sorted the problem. Or I could also go into hyphenation and trigger the hyphenation as well. And then I want to simply click on OK. And you will see that now the text is fitting. Another way that you could use, if there is some over text, I'm just going to bring it up here. So we have our little red square there, is use, as we've done before, the Option Command C. They will allow to move the frame in order to fit in your content. Perfect. But now let me show you how you can play with this content. And by the way, look how cool that worked out. So just so you know, in the future, if you have a 15 pixel gutter in between columns or rows, that is also a 7 pixel gap. So if you remember, I've set the space between the end of a paragraph and the beginning of a paragraph, so the space after my description to be 7 pixels, and it looks to nearly match my 15 point gutter, which I think is super, super cool. Perfect. So now let's move on and let me show you real quick how to style more text by using these paragraph styles as the beginning. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this first botanical dream description and then simply pasted it inside this page. So this page, I'm going to basically assign 1 page per each little chapter there. But now it looks so cramped. We have more space. Ideally, I want to kind of, make use of these little 2 squares that I have that I can allocate for the text. So how do I create changes without changing the entire paragraph style? Because otherwise that is going to change my previous page. Where there are 2 ways of doing so. The first one is to create a character style. Character style will allow you to override any paragraph style settings but it will not, it will keep the most important one. So let's see. So for example, for the first one, for our botanical dream, let's head to the character style little panel there, and then click on the plus icon to create a new character style. We're going to call this one titles, just to have a difference between heading, or you can call it heading 2 or bolder headed, as we're going to make it a little bit bigger. So let's call it big H. So there will be the big heading. And then for the basic character format here, for example, everything that is in black, that means that it retains the original character style, which is the paragraph style that we're using, which is our heading. And then from here, because the heading was already applied to the text, so we're applying more to override those settings. In particular, maybe I want to make the text bigger, so maybe I'm going to give it a size of 36 or maybe even 37. Again, I'm not too bothered about the lettering because titles and heading do not come in multiple line, but if you want to stay safe, always make sure to give it at least a couple points, so something like a 39 or a 40, but nothing really happens here because we do not have 2 lines of heading. And then something super cool that I can do is also add an underline option. In this case, I'm going to give it weight of 7, and also when I move it low so we can see it, so maybe we can also offset of 7. And I'm going to click on OK so you can see the changes there. So here we have the same paragraph style, which is our main paragraph style, which is our heading, but then with the character style applied, which is big H. So what happens if I now apply the description? Look, with the description, it will actually change the main font characteristics, so everything that was in black into my description. So in this case, it moved from the social gothic to work sans, but then it picked up, because my character style is applied, it picked up my 36 typeface and also the underline. Of course, you can always set it to none in order to undo. Make sure to select the text first. So I'm going to select it to none, and it will bring it back to my original description. So let's go ahead in order to move it into heading, and then from heading, let's apply the character style. Nice and easy. We go back to whatever we wanted there. Now, if you want to make different changes, like for example, the indent and spacing, because we have an underline here, we really want a larger space from the heading, you can always head back to the paragraph style, and with your style selected, we can create a new one. So I'm going to call this one body copy, just to differentiate it from the description. And you can base your style on description, so based on description. That means that everything will be retained to start with, and all you're left to do is perhaps maybe to, in this case, I'm going to make the text a little bit bigger. So 23 size point will probably be led on 25, which again is the space between the line. We're gonna make it a little bit higher. And then another thing that I said I wanted to do is to make the space before definitely higher, so because I really want to make some space and create a nice statement. I'm not afraid of distanciating it too much because there is no more text in there. So whenever you're ready, you can simply go ahead, maybe I can give it a little bit more space in between the lines so it breathes nicely, and you can go ahead and click on OK. So in this case, we have created a new paragraph style, and let me go ahead and also deselect the hyphenation and click on OK. You can also create in 2 different ways something that is based, so it's coherent within the new document, so we know that we are navigating the same document because the fonts are the same. But in this case, we have a little bit of differentiation. Now, time is ticking, so let me tell you real quick how to place your images. So in order to place your images, what you want to do is to use the rectangle frame tool, and something magic that you can do with the rectangle frame tool, first of all, is to head into your layers panel. Let me go ahead and collapse these and tile them inside my panels, just like so. Let me collapse it first, and then we can tile them there. And let's head into my layers. So now I'm going to lock my text so I don't mess it around, and I can start to select my image layer. So now I know that I'm going to go ahead and click the rectangle frame tool, and I will be able to start to create my frame. Now, once you click and drag here, every time that you click and drag and let go, you create one frame that you can move along. But what if I want to split this frame? Imagine that I want to create squares to fit the grid. What I have to do here is to create one, and then maybe select the Option key or the Alt key if you're working on Windows, and then duplicate, and then do that again, and then maybe copy that and then bring it up and do that again and over and over and over. And that's such a waste of time, and we don't have time because time goes way too fast when we're having fun. So click on the frame tool and click and drag once without letting go, and that's the cool trick coming up. All you have to do here is to use the arrow keys. So I'm still selecting, see the rectangle is still active over there. I'm gonna use the left and right bracket in order to add columns and split my page exactly and my frame exactly for the number of columns and rows that I want. And also if you use the command key and the space, you will be able to align the gutter. So look at that, I'm actually changing the space between the images. Now it looks a little bit too big. Let me make it a little bit smaller so it fits my 15-point gap. You can actually use the arrow to also create the gutter that will match the gutter of your actual grids. Super cool, right? Now, before we start to bring in my images, I can go ahead and delete this one that is under the text, and maybe here make a little rectangular image there. What I want to do there is to head to my CC library, head back into create new library. I'm going to call this one Plantorium Assets, and click on create. And then you can go ahead and select any library of your choice that contains your images. And from there, select the images of your choice and simply drag it inside your library. The CC library will allow you to organize and store your images. So once they are there, I can literally get rid of them from my computer so they don't take any space on my hard drive because they are already synced in my library. And then all you're left to do is to simply click and drag in order to bring in the images and then place it inside the grid by simply bringing them in inside the actual little frame that we have created. Now, if you don't see the image just like that, you can always use the shortcut Shift Option Command E in order to frame your image. And then you can click once to access the image container. And in this case, I'm just using my little pan there inside my computer in order to zoom it in, but you can click on it and then use any of these bounding box, corner of the bounding box with the shift key selected in order not to distort the image and to resize it proportionally, and click and drag one of the corner of its bounding box in order to then resize it. I'm just going to go ahead and place other few images here real quick and just resize it so we can see all these botanical dream colors, because I have 3 minutes to show you something very cool. Actually, while I place the images, let me know in the chat, do you want to see how to extract color from the image or how to apply object styles? Literally, we have 2 minutes, so it's up to you. Be fast, please choose, because otherwise I'm going to make a choice for you. And in the meantime here, I'm placing the images inside my actual grid. So let me know how to extract colors or object style. How to extract colors, object style. We only have the choice of one of the two for today. We're definitely going to have another how-to, and if you enjoy the topic, we can do that as many times as you want. But let me know now in the chat whatever you prefer before, unfortunately, for today, we're going to have to say goodbye. I think that Luis mentioned the object style, that probably the faster for now. Let me go ahead in the chat. Okay, we have object styles, not color. So autocolor is extract from colors. I'm going to show you real quick. At the bottom of the CC library, you can click on add elements and select extract from image, and here you can actually select any color you want and any images you want. So we can go back and select any of the images that we selected and click on open to access the amazing capture within the image. So we can go ahead and save any color theme, so you can actually move all these different colors here in order to select the colors that you prefer and save it right away into your library. And if you want to, like if you created a full mood board, you can always create like a screenshot of the page, and then you can use the actual image of the screenshot. Object styles, real quick, I think I have 1 minute. If you create an object style, you can find it under Window, Styles, and then Object Style. You will be able to apply object styles to your frames. So let's go ahead and click on a plus icon to open a new object style, and double click on new object style like we did before. And we can do something like apply a drop shadow and make sure that you set something nice like 35 so it's not too overpowering. And then maybe apply some corner. So maybe I can give it like a 38 corner to my frame. And what else we can do? Let's add a stroke so it's nice and visible. Maybe we have a 50% stroke, 50% black stroke, and click on OK. And then once you select and click on your actual object style that you have styled, let's see, hopefully if that works, it can be applied to your graphic. So let's see if we actually did it correctly. It looks like no, we have unfortunately 1 minute to go. Let's do it one more time. Add a stroke. Let's make it magenta and let's make it nice and big just so we get here we go. We added our stroke, and if we select another frame, all we have to do is to select the other frame in order to apply the style nice and quickly to all your images. I've managed to show you both. Unfortunately, it's time to say goodbye. We're gonna see each other very soon with another episode of How To. I hope you guys enjoyed it, but for now, bye bye everybody.